Hey, hey, hey. Welcome to another episode of Evolving Perspectives. My name is Mattea Elise, your podcast host, and on this podcast, we dive deep into the stories of everyday people, discussing the hurdles they face and the triumphs they've achieved. We have real, raw conversations where we laugh, we cry, we uncover the incredible resilience within us all. From overcoming personal setbacks to navigating life's unexpected twists, each episode that you tune into is a testament to the human spirit's capacity to persevere and thrive. Tune in as we share moments of vulnerability, inspiration, and ultimately empowerment. Get ready to be uplifted and inspired as we showcase the unwavering strength of the human heart on Evolving Perspectives. Chime in. Well, hey, 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 and welcome to another episode of Evolving Perspective Podcast. My name is Mattea Elise, and I am your podcast host, and I am here yet again with another amazing episode. I am so excited to share with you all my guest for today. This young lady, I have seen her grow up, and when I tell you, every time I see her, I'm like, oh my Lord, just to see how she has truly allowed what she's called to do and what she was purposed to do just to come into full fruition, the impact that she's making in the community, the impact she's making on our educational system. I just get joyed every time I see her and see her show up in social media spaces. And I am so honored to have her here because I know that after this episode, you all will definitely feel what I am talking about. I am so excited because, honey, put your bootstraps on because this episode is about to be fire. So, welcome to the podcast, Cammie. What's going on, girl?
Hey, hey, hey. Thank you so much, Mattea, for having me. I am so excited, glad, honored, and elated to be here with you and the opportunity to share this space with you. I truly, truly appreciate it. I love what you've done with this podcast. I love the episodes. And just to simply be on a guest on this show is, I'm telling you, an honor. So thank you again, and I'm glad to be here with you.
Oh, you're so welcome. So, of course, I know you, but I want you to tell our audience who you are, what you do, what's going on in your life right now, girl.
Well, as Mattia stated, my name is Cammie. I am an educator by trade, but I am a purpose pursuer by life, and so by
Yes.
God's design. And so I am so excited about what's been taking place in my life within the last couple of years and just overall. So, as I stated, I'm an educator, I'm an assistant principal in the local school system, as well as I'm a motivational speaker, life coach, and a purpose enthusiast, all things about purpose and making an
Yes.
impact. I just love to empower people, motivate people to fulfill their God given purpose and to make an impact on this world because that's what we are here to do. And we all were born to make an impact. I am a new wife, as in I've been married for officially a year and a month now. Yes. So yeah, a little over a year and a month. And so it's been a wonderful journey with my husband. And then we also gave birth. I'm telling you, like they say, the Christian folk don't play. We did. Amen. But we welcomed our new son into the world in August. So which is a little shy under a year from our actual 1 year anniversary. So we have a little baby boy, Miles, and we are so in love with him. And so it has been a wonderful journey. The last couple of years have been, I'm telling you, nonstop, but definitely God designed.
I absolutely love that. I want to start with your journey as far as your career is concerned, because one thing that I had to learn and own um on my own journey is that it's okay when what you've planned does not come to fruition, or it takes detours, or sometimes U-turns, or you make an unexpected turn. And
Mhm.
I had to, it was a very difficult transition for me when I graduated from college because my formal education is I have a degree in middle school education with a concentration in mathematics and language arts. Right.
Oh, did not know
Did
that.
not know that. And a lot of right, so people are always like, girl, what did you do? And I had, life was life in, and I just
Hello.
couldn't even say I was confused. I just couldn't figure it out. I really couldn't, like, because I was one of these people who knew, and the reason that let me go back. The reason that I chose education was because when I first got to Bennett, I did not know what I wanted to major in.
Mhm.
But me being the person that I am, I'm like, let me go ahead and get me a degree in something that when I graduate, I can get me a decent job. We ain't about to be
Come on.
majoring in something and then, child, you out here looking crazy with a
That's
degree. And
it.
we're not gonna say no because some people had those degrees and they whatever.
Yes.
But y'all know the majors where it's like, now what you gonna do with that? And
Thank you.
so my mindset was I knew that I loved educating. I knew I loved empowering people and I love to impact the lives of people. And I'm like, okay, a teacher, that's great. Let's do that.
Mhm.
And I've always been very strong in mathematics and I love to talk. So I'm like, language
Mhm.
arts, okay, math, okay, education, okay, that sounds great. Only for me to teach like one school year. And I was like, oh, y'all can have this. This is for the birds. Because what we're not going to do, I'm not trying to be on the news and I don't need to be in handcuffs because orange jumpsuits do not look good on me.
Come on.
Resignation letter. Okay. And so people are always like, you was a teacher. I'm like, girl, yes. And so I say all that to say because as I was reading your bio, I saw that you originally were going into go try or on the path to becoming a a physical therapist, a sports
Mhm.
physical therapist, right? Or
Mhm.
something along those
Yep.
lines.
Mhm.
And to see you in the space that you're in as an educator, it's almost like, wow, how did you even miss that? Because you just looking at your pictures and videos of your interactions with your staff and the students, it's like you were supposed to be there. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
And I'm like, girl, sports medicine, what? Boo, bye. No, this is where you was destined to be. Like, it's very evident and obvious. And so I want you to talk to us about how that switch how did you made that switch and how did you handle that transition? Because when you're going around talking about, oh yeah, I'm about to
Mhm.
be a physical therapist, oh I'm about to be this, and then you like, oh you're not gonna do that no more, I'm gonna be in the school. People
Mhm.
are like, say what? So
That part.
yeah, so tell me, let's walk through that. Will you kind of tell us how you made those shifts and changes?
Absolutely. So the change came really after undergrad. So after I graduated, and of course, after college, everybody trying to figure out what you're gonna do. And I had
Exactly.
like a compelled. I was like, I want to do this, but I don't want. And I remember going on my internship my senior year of college. And in my internship, I was like, I like this, but I just can't see myself doing this for the rest of my life. Like, and I can't because of the capacity in which I wanted to serve, the capacity in which I wanted to actually pursue a career. And I just couldn't see myself. No, 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 hands down. I mean, I love it. I was a sports person. So that's why
Yeah.
I pursued it because my background was athletic my whole entire, from kindergarten all the way to high school. I've always been in sports. So I was like, I want to pursue this. But it was something that just did not resonate. And I remember I had interned at this one place and I said I could see myself going in every day and crying just because of the
Wow.
overwhelming feeling of because I had like a passion to do sports physical therapy and then also to be like a physical therapist to go to third world countries help like young children that
Oh
had
yeah.
disabilities, all those things. Like I wanted to work, so I did an internship at a facility with children with disabilities. And
Okay.
it was so overwhelming just because my heart was grieved so bad too. I was like, I can't do this every single day because I would literally be crying because I
Yeah,
would
yeah.
be, so compelled with so much empathy and everything. So I was like, I can't do this. So what else could I do? So I went and pursued my graduate degree in community youth sports development. Like I always like see myself being able to work with kids and families in underserved communities. And so that program at UNCG provided me the opportunity for that, in which in turn I actually started my nonprofit, the Love Project, which focused on helping and supporting underserved communities. And like every year we do a Catch the Christmas Spirit, which is because my background is physical activity and physical education and stuff. So we do a giveaway every Christmas where we collect sports items and we give it away to students, to children in underserved communities. We started during
Oh,
COVID. We used to go
wow.
out to the communities and give them out individually and play with them. So I'll be out there playing basketball. My team will be out there jump roping, doing just different things to engage with
Oh,
them
I
to
love
keep them
that.
active. Because y'all know we in a generation that's, they like to be on their phones, they like the game
Exactly.
systems, but to be able to keep them active. So we would give sports items and socks to keep them warm, to do things. And so now we've turned that into actually going to schools and giving them away to elementary schools. And so we'll sponsor like one or two classrooms and give them away as Christmas gifts. But the
Got
change
it.
came because of the fact of I'm like, there's something more. And so when I graduated
Mm.
from graduate school, I could not find a job. And I'll be honest, I could not find a job. And I was like, ain't no way in hell. I applied for PE positions because my mama, she was really the one that said, Cammie, I really think you need to consider education. You
Mm-hmm.
always do summer camps. You're always working with kids. You're involved in church working with kids. And I said, Ma, they don't pay enough. Like, ain't no way. They don't pay enough. I'm sorry. Like, I'm out here for the money.
Okay, facts. All facts.
I'm not here for the money, but it was her that encouraged me. So I said, let me apply for some physical education positions. What people do not know is the day I got my first job as a physical education teacher, I had a packet in my front seat that I was going to mail off to join the Greensboro Fire Department. My
See
dad was
that.
a firefighter.
Yeah.
And so I said, well, I got to work. And so, at least that's something I can do. I'm at least in physical condition. So I can at least go out there. And I had the packet ready to mail off, but it was nothing but God that allowed me to sit on an interview and get hired that very same day to become a PE teacher in the school system. And it has been a choice that I have never regretted to this day, because it has allowed me to really, truly fulfill my passion and allow me to really, truly do what I love. And I didn't know how much I loved it at the time until the time
Yeah.
came. And so that's how I kind of made that turn and that transition to embark on the journey of education.
Wow, I absolutely love that. I think so many times people get discouraged and stay in positions or in career paths where they're unhappy, they're
Mm-hmm.
unfulfilled because it's kind of like, well, I got all these degrees, I got, I said, and it's like they find it difficult to pivot, right?
Mm,
But I love what you said because you talked about how, even in your church organization and your nonprofit organization, like at the heartbeat of it was about giving back and serving the community. And really, that's what education is all about. And it's funny that you brought up your dad because as we were preparing for this episode, of course, I was really thinking about him and the impact that he made on so many people. And I'll
mm-hmm.
be honest with you, every single time I see you post, especially when you're posting about, you being in the school system, your dad used to always say this thing, and he would always say, "We having fun, but we ain't
We
playing."
ain't,
You know,
yes,
it's
yes.
like every time I see you post that, it's like I hear Elder Cummings' voice, like, "We playing, but no, we ain't playing, but we having fun."
That's
You know what
it.
I mean? And it's like I think that even as people decide to go on their journey of life or how they partner on their journey with life,
Mm-hmm.
and that it's a mindset you almost have to take on, like make life fun because life is gonna
Yeah,
life. You know what I
it's
mean?
gonna life.
It's gonna life. It just is. And one thing that, my husband and I have really lived by is there are things that we know are inevitable, right? We know that death is gonna
Mm-hmm.
happen. We know that
Mm-hmm.
tragedies can happen, all the things unexpectedly. But the things
Mm-hmm.
that we can control, we try to control. Not
Right.
like we're trying to control the narrative of our life, but there are certain
Mm-hmm.
things that I feel like people engage in that really brings so much doom and gloom to their life. And it's like, you do realize you don't have to be attached to that. You do realize you ain't got to take on them people's issue. You do realize you
Come
could
on.
change jobs and careers. Like, I remember reading something a few years ago that stated, and this was probably almost 10 years ago, that talked about, back in the day, people stayed in a career like our parents and stuff
30 years, 40
30
years.
years. Okay, they going born dead, died dead, child. You like, yeah, Miss Murray was here for 45 years. She went home on her last day and died the next. Like, but now people are like, they like for real. But like now the statistics show that
It's
people will
true.
change a career within or change a job with up to 7 times in their lifetime. And I'm like,
Hmm.
wow, that's crazy. And so when you think about that, people are not committed like they used to be and being unhappy, but there are some people who are still doing things that is not truly bringing them joy.
Hmm.
And I'm so glad that you were able to open your mind to be receptive to those changes so that you
Hmm.
really can walk out your full God-given potential and
Absolutely.
purpose. And so that is just super exciting. And I have loved to watch your journey, with you being in education and even your matriculation to now being in leadership in the school, which is a
Thank
huge,
you.
huge accomplishment
Mhm.
and having your own business, being a certified life coach and just all the things that you're doing. I think it's not enough. We don't highlight enough our everyday people who are
Hmm.
out here truly, truly passionate about seeing other everyday people live their best life,
That's it.
right?
Yeah.
We often are always looking at people who have big names, big titles, big, all the millions of
Hmm.
followers, but baby, you ain't gonna ever touch them. Okay.
Come
We
on.
out here trying to make impact in your life today.
Come on.
This ain't just
Come
an
on.
Instagram post. This is a lifestyle,
That's
right?
it.
And once you embody what your purpose is, it makes you even the more effective in what you've been called to do. And I'm so, 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 so thankful for you saying yes to your pivot and being the impactful leader that you are. And talking about, and I don't want to get too into it, but I would like for you to share, because of course I met you when you were probably a young teenager, right? Years
Hmm.
ago.
Hmm.
And I just think about your dad,
Hmm.
and if I'm not mistaken, your middle name is Joy.
Yes.
Yes. And so I remember him always saying, Cammie Joy, Cammie Joy, and I know, of course, your father transitioned several years ago, but I
Hmm.
really want you to also talk to us about the impacts that your father
Hmm.
made and how you are fulfilling the legacy of his life through the things that you do, not just in your business, but in your everyday
Hmm.
interactions with your family and all that type of thing. If you don't mind sharing, I would love to hear that.
Absolutely. Yes. So that was, of course, my dad was an influential man. He was a man's man. And that's what
Yeah.
we looked at. And I never forget, it was at his funeral when my mom was like, every single person that spoke, and like one of the speakers that got up there said, dang, I thought I was his best friend. Like, dang, I thought like it was like, I mean, we had like 10 people to speak because it was so many facets of his life that were
Yeah.
represented. And so they were like, I thought I was his best friend. Like he made every person feel like they were that special. And
Yeah.
so I know our upbringing was that exact way. Like he made us as his children feel special, but he also instilled in us the importance of keeping God first, but then also the importance of loving people and then living out our passion through the things that we
Yes.
do. And so our parents were very influential in our lives when it came to making sure that we had the opportunity to be exposed to different things. We had, I mean, the opportunity, when I say exposed, like to be involved in sports, to be able to pursue different things that we wanted to pursue when it came to leadership. They pushed us to be in SGA, push us to make sure that we had different leadership roles. They actually surrounded us. I know that one of the things they always say that if we don't know it, we're going to put y'all in front of people that do. And so because they did
Yes.
not go to college,
Wait,
they
wait,
went
wait, wait,
to,
wait,
okay,
wait,
okay.
wait, wait. Pause, pause. Maybe because you on fast forward. We got to reel this back. I'm gonna need you to say that again
Yes, yes.
because I just was having a conversation with one of my friends, yes, literally yesterday. We were talking about parenting and people not having the knowledge
Mm-hmm.
always to expose their children or give their children certain opportunities or to do certain things with their kids because they just
Mm-hmm.
are less. And I mean, to be honest, they just ignorant and ignorant
Right.
in not
Mm-hmm.
knowing, not ignorant like
Yeah.
you stupid,
Mm-hmm.
but no, like ignorant in not knowing. But I love what you just said, and I want you to slow that down and repeat it because what you
Mm-hmm.
just told us was that your parents put you in front of things that they knew you needed to know and they wanted you to be exposed to, even if they didn't have the knowledge. I
Yep.
want you to rewind. I know I just said it, but I want y'all to get that.
Yeah.
Y'all know with this podcast, we don't just be out here just having
Come
conversation.
on.
I want you to be impacted when you leave from listening to this. I want your life to be changed, and I want something to
Mm-hmm.
be positive in you where you like, dang, I never thought about it like that.
Mm-hmm.
Your perspective shifts. So if you'll rewind that, I'm sorry, I hope that didn't throw you off, but
Mm-mm.
that just hit me. So I want you to rewind that. Go ahead.
Absolutely. So like I stated, they had a background of trade. So my
Yes.
dad was a firefighter and he was a beautician. And so my
Mm-hmm.
mom was a full-time beautician as well. They own hair salon, did hair together. And so they didn't have the exposure of going to a 4-year college and graduating and what it took to get in college, what it took to prepare for college, what it took to succeed in college. So what they did was, and they said this, because we don't have this background, we're going to put you in front of people that do. So they surrounded us by a lot of college students. So some of our babysitters growing up were college students. And so
Mm-hmm.
they expose us to what college looked like, they help us write our college essays, they help us complete our college applications, all those different things. And so it didn't make them feel less of parents. They just said, because we're good in these other areas, but this is one
Exactly.
area that we need support in. And that was something that we lived by. My dad always instilled, like we had vision statements growing up. I mean, like for our family, like certain
Come
things, we
on.
had a vision statement that, nobody in this family struggles. So if one person got a project, we all got a project. And we all helping them with that project. We all
Oh, I
making sure
love
they
that.
succeed in that project. And I mean, it would be times that we'd be like, ain't nobody doing that. Like we'd be mad at each other. Of course, you're gonna be siblings are gonna siblings. And so we'd be like, ain't nobody
Exactly.
doing that. He would get us up and take us. We had a vision statement in our house on the wall. He would say, all y'all come over here. And he said, read this statement. This is what this family does. This is what we do. I don't care how much
The
you don't like each
people.
other. I don't care how much you can't stand each other. She got this project and she need help. And y'all gonna help on this project. I mean, and so that was things that were instilled.
Oh, I
Even things
love it.
such as our motto was Cummins never lose, we always win. And
Mm.
so it wasn't like, okay, we're gonna get out there and we was beasting everything. No, it was just instilled that we're gonna put forth our best effort to conquer and achieve at whatever we put our hands to do. And so it's
Yes.
gonna be moments you're gonna, encounter type of circumstances, things you're gonna be set back in, but we always win. And we're gonna always figure it out. And like you said, his infamous quote was, we having fun, but we ain't playing out here. We
Yes.
having fun in this life, but we're not playing with our purpose. We're not playing with God. We're not playing with loving others. And so that's what really became the framework that we were really reared in. And so it was a good one sometimes. And we were like, yeah, we don't want to do all of this. Like, we kids. Like, we teenagers. We teenagers. Like, come on. We would get disciplined. Like, I mean, we grew up where we got discipline. And
Right,
he would
right.
make us learn scriptures afterwards. Like, you got to be kidding. You got to be kidding. Like, ain't nobody want to read this Bible after you just done discipline us. Like, come on. But hindsight, now that I've gotten older, seeing how thankful and how much that has
Yes.
helped in present day life, how much that has
Yes.
helped, to be able to pursue the things that I've done. And even when it became challenging and hard. And that's why, I live by the motto of impact, because that's
Hmm.
what we were born to do. That's what instilled to us. That when you die, you make sure you've done all that you can in this earth. And that's what I feel like he did. And so he always said this, that he took this from the late Bishop Otis Lockett, that he
Hmm.
never wanted to live any day longer past when he has fulfilled his purpose. And he said,
Yes.
I don't want to live no longer than when I have fulfilled my purpose. Because then life
Yes.
after that, I just be wasting time.
Ooh.
Mm.
Lord,
Ooh.
that was so good. That was so, so good. I think that, and for those who are listening who have families, sometimes we are just skating through life, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you're working, you may even be successful, you're doing all the things, but at the same time, your family lacks vision.
Mm, mm.
So, from
Yep.
what you've just shared with us, I really extracted the importance of having a family vision, an
Mm-hmm.
overarching motto for our entire
Mm-hmm.
family. What is that? And I think that and my husband and I do the exact same thing. So that's why I think that resonates with me so much is, even at the beginning of the year, we'll go through, we'll sit down and kind of go through, okay, these are the things we want to do and accomplish this year. These are our goals. This is the vision for our house.
Mm.
This is what we plan on living. And it's so good to have those things written out. And even with my
Yeah.
kids, they'd be like, I don't know. And it was so funny because we had each of them to do their own like vision board and write their own stuff out. And so my son's like, I'm going to collect more Sonic toys this year. I'm gonna I'm not going. I'm going to try to minimize how many sodas I drink and think about. It was like random stuff. I'm like, sir, really? But it was so funny because even though he's young,
But
I
he
like the
still,
fact. But it
yeah.
may be like something where we're like, okay, no, it's not complex and no, it's not deep, but it's just
Mm-hmm.
it's the idea of getting that
Yeah.
thought process,
Yeah.
in you and over your life. That even as you grow older, you know
Absolutely.
that that the scripture tells us that the people perish for the lack of knowledge, right?
Absolutely.
And you have to have vision, period. And so you want to make sure that even as you're matriculating through your educational experiences, through your career paths, whatever, really, what is your vision? And that's the reason that so
Mm-hmm.
many people, I feel like, end up staying stuck,
Yeah.
in their life and their jobs and all the things because
Mm-hmm.
they really don't have a clear vision of where they want to go,
Mm-hmm.
or what the
Absolutely.
mantra or the motto is for their
Mm-hmm.
life. And I think even for myself, when I look back, and it used to be very embarrassing for me because it was a running joke in my family, like, Lord, Mattea, if I ever got a different job, you ever doing something different. Oh my God. But my thought was I would get a job and Cammie, I would be like, okay, we're gonna do this. Baby, if that thing wasn't doing what I thought it was supposed to do, on to the next. Because
Y-
because I really had a vision. Like
Yeah.
I know what I'm trying to
Mm-hmm.
get to. Like
Yep.
I just didn't know the vehicle
Right. Right.
that or the vehicle that my
Mm-hmm.
purpose would be fulfilled
Yeah.
in. I
Mm-hmm.
knew that I was an impactful person. I knew that God was going to use my voice. I knew that I was gifted in the area of
Mm-hmm.
hair, but at the same time, it was like, well, let me just try this and let me just see. But I just didn't know how it was going to be
Yeah.
packaged.
Yeah.
And it has not really been until the latter part of my life, I would say within the last 5 years, that I'm like, this is it.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Because I felt I condemned myself because I felt like I
Mm-hmm.
was always all over the place.
Yeah.
And I remember during COVID, I was watching, and it wasn't crazy because I believe in God, but it
Mm-hmm.
was crazy for people who just, not into that. And so I was watching this guy. He was a preacher, and he was, doing a scripture a Bible study or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And he also flows in the prophetic. And I mean, like heavily gifted in the prophetic. And I it may have been the first time, second time of me listening to him. The word was good, and I was just listening because it was just a good teaching. And as I
Mm-hmm.
was listening to him, and I think, I might have typed amen or good or whatever. And as I was listening, he was preaching, and he's like, I gotta pause. He was like, Mattea Hill Hunter. And he
Mm,
just began to prophesy over my life.
mm,
He was like, he said, I see where God has gifted you in so many different areas, and the enemy has tried to use that to confuse
mm,
you.
mm,
He said,
mm.
but God gave you every single one of those
Mm.
desires and passions.
That's
And
it.
he will see, he said, I see you doing multiple things. There
Yes,
is
yes.
this man don't know me I don't even know where I think he live in South Carolina. I never met this man a day in my life.
Wow. Mm,
And that prophetic word truly, I mean, took the chains off my mind and off of
mm-hmm.
my heart, because I was like, so
Yeah,
like, okay, I like to do this, but I love doing this. I like to
yeah,
do this, but I love doing that, And I'm like,
yeah.
how can I do all these things? People gonna think I'm schizophrenic or
Mm-hmm.
something, but only to realize that truly all things were working
Work
together
together.
for my
That's it.
good. You
That's
know what I'm
it.
saying? And
Yeah.
so I'm not encouraging people to be doing 50 things. I ain't saying that, because all the
Mm-hmm.
things I'm now trying to master
Yeah.
how to merge everything so that I am more streamlined.
Mm-hmm.
But even with starting this podcast, I was like, okay, this is so random. It's like, probably 2, 3 years ago, I just felt the Lord leading me to start a podcast. And I was
Mm-hmm.
like, but who gonna listen to me? I'm a hairstylist. Like, I mean, and I don't necessarily want to talk about hair, to be honest. Even though
Right.
I like it and I love it, it's my career, but I'm like, I don't think I want to talk about that. I
Mm-hmm.
want to talk about people and lives and how our
Mm-hmm.
perspectives evolve, and life and how to deal with life and all the
That's
things.
good.
And it was like, Miss, he just do it.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, okay, I don't know what I'm doing, but we're going, okay, record. Here we go. First episode.
That's
You know what
it.
I mean? And so just even in this, it has been so rewarding for me.
Yeah.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And I just have seen the impacts that it's made on the lives of so many people. And I'm so
Yeah.
grateful for that. I
And you
don't take that
should
for
be.
granted. Yeah.
You should be. And I think one of the things that stood out, I remember from the episode I listened to with when you were speaking with Dr. Faith. And
Yeah.
so one of the things that, because I felt the same way, he was like, it was so many different things. Like, I'm trying to do this, I'm trying to do that, I'm trying to do this. And I feel like society has made us feel like we have to settle on one thing. And
Right.
I semi disagree with it because it constricts. And I was just
It
talking to my
does.
husband about this. I'm like, oh my gosh, I got this. I'm born to impact. Now I'm doing something with teachers and I'm teach to impact. And I'm like, what is it that I want to do? And there's so many different things. But I realized too, and you said this, it's the visionary in us because
Yeah.
we can vision different things, and not only for ourselves, we vision for other people. Like, there are times that
Exactly.
I'm sitting here like texting somebody like, you're really good at this. This is something you should be doing. Like,
Yeah.
I'm like, this is, and I never forget, I had a client one time and she was in between. And through our conversations, and I never forget, it was probably like on session number 3. And I said, you know what? You're really good at organizing. People suck at organizing. There's a lot of people
Facts.
that struggle
That
with
would
it.
be me.
Right? They struggle with it. Organizing their life, even organizing their home, even organizing their schedules. And I said, you're really good at it. Like, you're very meticulous with things. And so
Yeah.
ever since that, she realized, she was like, I really am. And she now is a assistant, virtual assistant, and then also an assistant. Like, she helps pretty much people in education with busy lives, and she helps people in corporate America with busy lives streamline different things. And so she helps organize the
Wow.
different things that they need help with, booking their flights, making sure. I'm like, girl, because you're good at it.
Yes.
Those are things, but it's not bad. But I feel like we have been compacted to focus on this, focus on that. God gives some of us the ability to be able to spread out and use our gifts
Yeah.
in different ways. And
So
I
true.
think because we do it, it's sometimes it's like, okay, what am I doing now? What is this doing now? And it can be done for the season. And some of it can
Yeah.
be done that we should be doing it for a lifetime. But I don't think it's bad. And I mean, that was so encouraging to me when you shared that, because I'm like, yes,
Hmm.
that's where I am. And I
Yeah.
love, and I always live by, I motivate, educate, and empower. And it looks different
It looks
in different
different.
spaces.
Yes.
I can motivate you in the classroom. This weekend, I had to go speak at a women's conference. That's a different space.
Exactly.
There's different spaces. So I think that's a element where we can continue to encourage people that struggle with that. that
Yeah.
struggle with what should I pursue. And you said something too that really matched one of my themes that I live by. And I like to tell people that we're all responsible for a sphere of impact. We
Mm.
may not reach the masses, but there are people in our sphere that we're responsible for and that we should
Yes.
be touching. And then
Yes.
this podcast is an element of the sphere of impact that we should be touching. And I talk to my mom, we talk about this all the time. Like there are certain people that we
So
are
true.
responsible for. And I might not have a million people or a million followers. I may not have that. But at the end of the day, I got to stand before God based upon what did I do with the impact that I had, that what was
That.
around me in my sphere. Did I maximize it?
Ooh, that's a whole word. You are so right. Because I think so many people are so, and that's one reason I feel like people are stay stuck and don't move and progress because all they can see is big picture. And it's
Yeah.
like they feel like if I'm not, a major influencer or I'm not doing this or doing, and I don't have all the numbers that I must not be making an
Mm-hmm.
impact. And it was funny because you all know as I don't really have a whole lot of hobbies, right? But one of my hobbies is I love making videos because I love being able to create, a visual presentation of things that I've experienced. Like that's kind of like
Mm-hmm.
my hobby. And so I was talking to one of my friends and she was like, "Girl, you a content creator." And I was like, "No, I just like making videos." And it's like, she's like, "No, I just need you to own that. Like it's okay."
Uh-huh.
You
Yeah.
know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I'm like, "Well, I don't have all them hundreds of thousands of followers and I only got, and she was like, but so what? That's still who
Yeah.
you are. Like
Yeah.
it doesn't matter. Like, okay,
Yeah.
you got 1,000 followers. Okay, that's fine. You know what I mean? It ain't a
Mm-hmm.
million. It's okay. But the people that,
Mm-hmm.
like what you said, I love that. That's in my sphere. I'm always very intentional. Like I want to present myself in a way that people feel motivated, inspired,
Mm-hmm.
and
Absolutely.
encouraged to move on. And I've really dedicated, my life to be able to be a living example. I want not
Mm-hmm.
that my life is perfect because I got a lot of challenges like everybody else,
Mm-hmm.
but I think oftentimes we don't give people an opportunity to see and give them what I like to say a blueprint to
Come
what
on.
life really looks like to overcome challenges, to be faced with trials and still
Mm.
walk in faith and walk things out victoriously on the other
Mm-hmm.
side. It's not
Mm-hmm.
just about making it in, it's about
Yeah.
what does that look like today? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
How can I be impactful today? How can I bring
Yes.
joy to somebody's life today? How can I
Yep.
serve myself today? You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? And so as you kind of take on that mindset, it allows you to really walk, I feel like in a posture of joy and
Yeah.
experience joy
Yep.
in a posture
Mm-hmm.
of gratitude. And it appears as if, oh my God, somebody's life is so amazing. It's just that I've taken on this posture that my life is, I was sent here on purpose I was
Come
sent here
on.
on purpose to fulfill God's purpose. And I was sent here to live out the purpose that He placed on the inside of me so that
Absolutely.
other people's lives will be impacted. And so when I understand that, I walk intentionally. I
Mm-hmm.
move
Come on.
intentionally and I don't
Mm-hmm.
take any engagement and any interaction um for granted, and I don't
Mm-hmm.
belittle any engagement that I have,
Yeah.
even if it's
Yeah.
me at the grocery store checking out. I'm saying to and do I do it every time? I'm not gonna say that, but I'm very intentional. How you doing today? No, like you
Mm-hmm.
good? You know what I
Yep.
mean? You all right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, I hope you have a fantastic rest of the day, and the rest of your clients that come through the rest of your customers that come through here. Hopefully, they'll be just as pleasant as I was.
Yes.
I mean, just
Yes.
even in those
Yes.
things, because you never know what people are going through.
You
You know what I
never
mean?
know.
You really, really don't. But I do want to shift because, honey,
Okay.
you are a newlywed. Okay?
Yes.
You are
Yes.
a newlywed. And I know I just took a homemade. That was like one of those you driving in the car and it's like, "Ah, yeah,
Yeah.
give me the exit." Oh, sorry. Yeah, you were supposed to get off on 10B. Sorry. I know I just did that, but I was so happy to see when you got engaged and got married and all the things. And I think one of the challenges and I want to talk to you about this because I was 30 when I got married, and by the time I was getting married, my core friends were already married and most of them had kids. So
Mm-hmm.
I really,
Mm-hmm.
even though third now in hindsight, I'm like, Mattea, 30 really was not that old. But in my mind, that was old compared to
Yes,
other people. Not
yes.
even not old, but I felt like I was behind.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yes.
And so I want to talk to you about that because even though I still, of course, I'm very open with my age. I'm 46 years old. And, I am looking at you and I'm like, oh my gosh, you were 34 when you got
4.
married? 34 when you
Mm-hmm.
got married. And I'm like, that's young, child, but I'm sure compared to your other peers, like, did
Mm-hmm.
you think that, or did you ever? Because okay, I know I'm saying a whole lot because I'm getting excited. Okay, Mattea, calm down. Were you a person who was like, oh, always dreamed of, I want to be married, I want to have a family? Like some people are really just career driven, and it's like if
Mm-hmm.
it happens, like I was like. I just want life to happen and I don't want
Mm-hmm.
life to pass me by and I want God's will and God's best for me.
Yeah.
Did I want to be married? I did, but I didn't want to be
Yeah.
one of these people that was so obsessed with,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
being married or being single. I'm like, child, I'm trying to live my best life. So if that means I'm about to just be traveling around the world for the rest of my life, we just gonna believe God for it.
Yes.
But now if
Yes.
He bring me somebody, I ain't opposed to it,
Hello now. Hello.
So talk to us about your, how you walked into love and
Mm-hmm.
getting married at 34. And how did that make you feel? Did you feel like you were always going to be married, or were you kind of like, if it happens, it happens?
Mattia, I was like, if it happens, it happens. I wanted a sense of it, but I was never like, oh gosh, I cannot wait. Like, this is a lifelong dream for me.
Yeah.
I was very heavy in my career. And so
Hmm.
like I started out, of course, teaching, and I went straight from, I only taught for like 5 years, and I went into administration. And I was, when I'm about something, I'm about it. And so I was really, after I was athletic director. So my life was my work. And then of course things I did at church, I was heavily involved in church. So I mean, I had those thoughts like anybody. I wanted to date, I wanted to be with somebody, I wanted the companionship. Now, did I want a family? That was a question. I always like,
Yeah.
no, don't know. I might be fine, or whatnot. But it was not until, and a lot of people may not know this. I shared a little bit of it, but um my matriculation into going into actually the season of dating happened when I took a year off of work. So I did not work for an entire year. So, and I mean, this was
Wow.
this was in 2022. I did not work for a year. I took a year out of education. I just wanted, and I felt like God was pulling me in a season of taking a break and trusting Him with some things I was trying to do next. And so, because of my position and things I were doing, it was very heavy, time consuming. But really, come to find out, it was really God pulling me away to prepare me for this next season of dating and becoming a
Hmm.
wife. Because during that time frame, I actually reconnected with my husband. And so it happened. That's what I'm saying. I knew all of this was definitely God, because I ain't had time to date when I was working. I mean, I did. And I never forget, one of my colleagues told me that you just ain't got the time. And she said,
Yeah.
like, look at your schedule. How are you gonna date? Who you gonna put insert with that? Who's gonna fight with your work hours? Who's gonna do it? And I mean, she wasn't lying. And I
Yeah.
mean, she put me on a dating schedule one time and was like, I want to see if you can leave work by now because you got to go, meet him for dinner. And I was like, girl, you stressing me out with this. Like, okay. But it wasn't until then. And I never knew, so much why it happened. I knew I wanted to take a break to kind of pursue different things, like my motivational speaking, my consulting, and just to really pursue something different in God, in Christ. And that
Hmm.
was a really big thing for me. But during that time frame, I reconnected with my husband, who's my husband now, of course, and we dated during that time frame. And he had a flexible job, and it all happened so wonderful. He had a flexible job, hybrid job. When I was totally work from home job, and so
Wow.
we were in two different cities. So he would come up and visit. We would do day dates. We would actually, spend time together. Different things that I didn't get to do prior to now. And so we knew
Right.
each other for 6 years. So we were introduced by my brother-in-law, my sister's husband. We were introduced 6 years ago. And, I saw a post on Facebook this week and somebody was asking, if this person comes into your life and they seem like, they could be that person, but they're not your type. Like, do you pursue that? I commented and said, that's my story. Like, that is me 100%.
Right.
Because he was not my, type of, or I was going to go out there and choose. But I say this, and I said this even in my vows, that he was not what I thought I wanted, but he was everything that I needed and that God knew that I
Yes.
needed. And so
Yes.
we dated. And so we dated for only 8 months. We
Mm-hmm.
ended up getting engaged in March of 2023, and then we got married in September of 2023. And so the whole cycle of a year kind of happened, but it was really like a time frame in my life where things stopped so I could really walk into this next season of my life and really take time to date, really take time to court, and really take time to now
Yes.
prepare as I had prepared during this time to actually be a wife. And there's times where I would doubt that would happen. And I mean, I would call my mom and be like, Mom, I just don't see this like for my life. I wanted
Yeah.
it. But I'm like, I'm her last child. I'm like, it got to be a child in every family that ain't married. You know, my sister that got married, my brother got married. I guess that's me. I'm the child that is they ain't gonna be married and they ain't gonna have no family. And so sometimes because of that, I would occupy my time with
Yeah.
things. So I wouldn't think about it. So I wouldn't have to, be faced with those things. But when I say everything is God's timing, and that's what
Yes.
we say our story is a story of God's perfect timing because it
Yes.
happened. We knew each other 6 years, did not date, we were friends, but then it came around when God wanted it to happen, that it
Mm-hmm.
actually happened. And it's been awesome.
I absolutely love that. And for me, I tell people all the time, I feel like when you know, you know.
Yeah.
So Brian and I actually have a very similar story because we started dating like around December, January of no, December. We initially met, like formally met like December of '06. Start kind of dating January '07
Mm.
and got engaged like around August or
Mm-hmm.
later. Yeah, August or so. And we were married like the next June. Like and it was kind of like, you getting married
Yeah.
already? I'm like, listen, he checks the box. I don't even know. I mean, what we
Thank you.
doing? Like, I mean, it's one thing when kind of like, well, you in school or I'm trying to pursue and I'm
Mm-hmm.
school and I'm like, by then I'm like, baby, I'm 30 years old. Like, ain't nobody,
Yes.
what we
Yes.
doing? Like, I
Yes.
mean, and it wasn't like one of these things where I'm like, oh, you gonna marry me or else. It wasn't that. Like he was in the
Mm-hmm.
mindset like I'm dating to get married. I
Yeah.
was in the
Mm-hmm.
mindset like I'm dating to get married because my thing
Yeah.
was I had done so many things in my life prior to me getting with my husband. I was very career oriented, trying to
Mm-hmm.
figure things out in my career, my career path. I had done some traveling. I was having all my little girls trips.
Yeah.
Like like when people say that they are discontent in their single life. And this is not, I don't want it to come across as me being like, girl, get over it. Because everybody's
Mm-hmm.
situation is different. But like you, I really occupied my time and my
Mm-hmm.
life with
Mm-hmm.
things that I did enjoy.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
And so I never felt like, now, did I want to get married? I'm like, that
Mm-hmm.
would be nice. I would love companionship and share my life
Mm-hmm.
with somebody. I never forget Bishop Locke used to always say, the whole thing with getting married is you want to be able to connect with somebody where you could be naked and unashamed. And that is
Mm-hmm.
like the epitome of
Yeah.
relationship, to
Yes.
be truly naked and unashamed. And
Yes.
wow, that's a whole nother level of friendship, of
Yes.
relationship. You know
Yes.
what I mean? And so of course I desired that and all the things that come along with marriage, but I just didn't allow it to consume me. You know what
Yeah.
I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I really was like, okay, you know what? This ain't working. Let me go back to school. Okay, we're
Mm-hmm.
gonna get that little check that off the box. Oh, let me try this
Mm-hmm.
job. Let me go on this trip. Like I was involved in my community. I was involved in my church.
Yeah.
Like and like you, it was almost like, okay, if I do date, Lord, when am I gonna have time?
Yeah.
But I think people get so consumed with the idea of being married and
Mm-hmm.
obsessed with their singleness
Mm-hmm.
that they don't even give themselves the opportunity to enjoy what that really looks
Yeah.
like.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Because on the flip side, marriage is very beautiful, but it comes along with its own challenges and things.
Right.
So,
Right.
like I was sharing with you this morning, getting on this call was a challenge because it's like, okay, I got to drop my kid off. Okay, then I'm gonna come back. Then, oh, I forgot their lunch. Let me go circle to the food line. Let me
Yeah.
bring that back. Then somebody calling, they left their clarinet. Let me go, like, and I'm not saying
Yeah.
that any of it's bad. It's just different.
Right. Yes.
It's just
Yes.
life. And
Yes.
I remember when I first had my daughter, and this is a very transparent moment, you see all these posts and things about, oh my God, my baby, oh my Lord, this is what I've always prayed for. Oh my God, this is great, amazing. And I kept saying, okay, now Lord, when is that gonna click for me? Because all I could think about is because I was so used to being free. This
Yes.
is the God honest truth.
Yes.
I
Come
was so
on.
used to being able to do what I wanted to do that it was almost like I went through this, and it probably was a little bit of postpartum depression too. I ain't realized at the
Mm-hmm.
time, but I was like, okay, you getting in my way, kind of sort of. Like, I just
Mm-hmm.
wanted to run to Target real quick, and we about to walk out the door, and you do a whole blowout.
Yes.
Like, come on, sis. Like, really, you know what I mean? I just want to walk down the aisle and look at a few
Yes.
things. You hollering and screaming. I'm like, I just fed you. What's the problem? Just enjoy the sights. It's beautiful in here. I promise. We in Nordstrom. Like, you don't like Nordstrom? Like, I had to
You
get
ain't
over.
lying.
I think so. It was a big shift for
Yeah.
me, honestly. And it wasn't that I ever wanted to hurt her or I ever
Yeah.
wanted.
Yeah.
It wasn't any of
Absolutely.
that. And I loved her, but it was such a
The
change because I
shift.
had been
Mm-hmm.
really doing what I wanted to do. And even
Yeah.
before I had my daughter, even with Brian and I just, I mean, we live like fly by the wind. Like
Mm-hmm.
literally would be like, oh, you know what? We was looking at, let's ride up to Philadelphia next weekend. Like we just literally
Yeah.
live fancy and free. It
Mm-hmm.
was incredible. But it's funny because now we do that with our kids, now they get, so they like, where we going this weekend? I'm like, y'all, we sitting down.
Yes.
Because but I didn't embrace that and I didn't
Yeah.
understand, it was just that transition that I had to go through just with the
Mm-hmm.
changes, of my life and all of that.
Yeah.
And, I'm glad that you shared
Mm-hmm.
that. And I heard a little hesitation in your voice, like, we only dated 8 months, but, and I'm like, no, girl, it is what it
Mm-hmm.
is. Like,
It is what it is. Yes.
when you know, you know.
You know,
And
you know. Yes.
it just is what it is. And so
Yes.
I'm so excited about that. Now, I do have to ask you though, you just recently had your son and he's so super.
Yes.
Oh my God, he's so
Yes.
cute. Looks so yummy. And so, did you all, I know this sounds crazy, but did you all
Mm-hmm.
plan to have children immediately?
Yeah,
Or,
no. Mm-mm. No,
oh,
ma'am.
okay.
And we
Okay. Because
talk
some
about it now
people are
because
like that. Like,
mm-mm.
we gonna, that's,
Our plan was
yeah.
to wait a year. Our
Okay.
plan was to wait a year. But I mean, we ain't put plans in place to wait for the year.
So, ma'am, you was not gonna wait a year.
So, we just I was out here just having fun. But it was a year, and I never forget. We found out actually the December 31st, 2023. Yes, New
Wow.
Year's Eve. And I never forget I had and the crazy thing is my husband had put a um pregnancy test in my stocking for Christmas. So I had COVID. We had COVID during Christmas. It was my fault.
Oh,
I brought it
I
into the
think
house.
yeah, I think I do
Yes.
remember you posting
So we
about
was
that.
just okay, getting through with COVID and all that stuff. And so we was going through, of course, you know how women, you don't see your cycle, all those different things. And it had been fluctuating anyway. So I didn't pay no mind. I had already took one. I was like, it's negative. It is what it is. Let's keep it moving. So he put one in my stocking for Christmas. And I was like, why you do this? He was like, I just think you need to take one. And so Christmas, I waited all the way to New Year's Eve. I was like, I'm not taking it. Halfway, I was like nervous and scared. I was like, I'm not taking it. So New Year's Eve, I just was like, let me just do it. He was out playing one of his games. He's a gamer. So he was out playing a game. And I was like, I'm just going to go ahead and sneak and do it. And I remember doing it in my heart. I mean, my heart started beating so fast. I had to, I went onto the bed and just laid down. I just laid straight on. I just laid straight on the bed. And I said, okay. Whew. So then, they come in two pass. So I said, okay, 20 more minutes, I'm going to take another one. Came back. I said, okay, I got to figure out how to tell him. I got to figure out how to tell them. And it wasn't that I was disappointed. I was actually like excited because that was one of the things I was like, oh my gosh, this is happening for me, to me. Like
Yes,
I just, that was one of those
yes,
things like I didn't really see it. And I was fine kind of if we did not have, if we had, just because, and then I was fine having because I knew he would be an awesome, father or whatnot. So I was fine either way. But to
yeah.
see it, I was like, oh my gosh. So then I had ended up telling him, I had him go look for something in the closet, like bring me a pair of shoes, something random. And he was
Right.
like, he came back out, I know you lying. Are you for real? Are you are you for real? I was like, yes. And I mean he just glowed up about it. And so it's just been an awesome journey, honestly. It wasn't planned,
Yeah.
but it has been, awesome just to see and experience it all and just to do it together. I think that has
Yes.
been so beautiful.
I love that. I think this is a perfect way that just put the cherry on top. I mean, I have thoroughly enjoyed our conversation today.
Yes.
It was so, so good. If y'all didn't get nothing out of this, Lord, y'all deaf. Go back and repeat.
Ah, but if I can say
It's
one
so
thing,
good. Yeah,
if I
please.
could say one thing to encourage, because I think sometimes, like we have these Viola letters, these Sierra letters, these things that they
Mhm.
write in their prayers, but there's nothing like your prayer to God about what you want and what you need. And I never
Mhm.
forget that, like I said, me and my husband didn't reconnect to 6 years later, but it was during probably about 5 years ago, or probably about 5 or 4 years ago. I was at his ordination service with him and my brother-in-law were getting ordained as deacons. Mindful, like I said, we were friends, and I just like we just gonna be good. I'm good with us just being
Mhm.
friends.
Mhm.
We don't. I don't see us as nothing like that, but I'm good. But I never forget. I was at the ordination service, and God showed me. He said, "That's your husband." During that time, I mean, I will never forget. Said, "That's your husband," and I said, "No, no, Lord, we missed this one." We missed this one. But it wasn't until when I was out of work, and I never forget, I was out walking and I was praying to God about certain things I wanted. Like, yes, God, during this season, I would love to have a mate. I would love to have somebody to help me
Mhm.
and, cover me and support me during this season of my life. And I was
Yes.
listing out things, different things, and he brought him back to my remembrance.
Oh, wow.
Brought him back to my remembrance. And it wasn't until literally the next month we started back talking. Just like that.
Wow.
I'm telling you, it's crazy.
I
And
love
so when you
that.
trust God with it, He will definitely give you what He knows you need and what He wants you to have.
Wow. Well, yeah, that was beautiful. Thank you for the sprinkles. This has been so, so, yeah. This has been so good. We definitely have had fun, but baby, we were not playing at all.
Yeah.
If you did not pick up what we was putting down, please make sure you replay this. I have
Hmm.
just been overjoyed with all that was shared today. I do want to make sure before we conclude that you do share all of your social media handles as well as
Hmm.
how people can connect with you. If you have a website or your email address or whatever you want to share. I would love for you to share that with our audience.
Absolutely. So you can find me on Facebook and Instagram at Cammie McDowell. So you can find me at Cammie McDowell. I actually do have a website, and it is CammieCummins.com. It still has my other name. I ain't paying for that new one yet. But
Right.
anyway, so but it is CammieCummins.com. Please feel free to connect, follow all the wonderful things. If you are an educator, please follow me now at Teach to Impact. And so those are ways I'm actually motivating, empowering, sharing resources with educators during this time right now. So I'm still on leave and I'm enjoying it.
Yes.
But connect with me and I would love to connect back with you.
Awesome, awesome. Well, thank you again, Cammie, for coming on and sharing your time. Of course, you are a new mother, so I am extremely grateful for you stepping away from your little baby to share this time and space with us. As always, please make sure you are sharing us with all of your family, your friends, and all the people that you know, because I really truly believe that this podcast is not just impacting those who I know and who are just listening because you my friend, but it's also impacting the lives of those who we may not know. And you never know how this series or this session or this episode may bless someone. So please make sure you don't be stingy and share with everyone. And as I like to always conclude every single episode, always remember to keep evolving. Until next time, you guys be easy. Thank you again for tuning into Evolving Perspectives. Remember to like, subscribe, download, and share with your friends and family about our episode that releases every single Monday. And always remember to keep evolving. Until next time, be easy.